Hey, everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad for the 40th time today. I'm Christy Brower, here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie.
Are you guys sick of us yet? Are we sick of us yet? We're all
Oh
sick
my
of YouTube.
gosh, this has been a day. We're definitely sick of YouTube. YouTube, you're on our list.
We haven't even had
Uh,
time to deal with you yet, YouTube, but we're coming.
no, just to clarify, if you got the email or saw anything, our monetization has been paused. They're accusing us of mostly streaming unoriginal content, which is
hmm
utter bullshit, as we all know. So we will be
hmm
appealing it. But here's the thing, you can't just appeal it, like write out why you're appealing it. You have to send them a video. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've kind of had a lot going in the video department today. So we've not done it yet, but we will. We
Yeah.
will get this taken care of.
And we've
It's
gotten some good tips from other creators about what they have done to try to offset that because apparently this has happened to all the true crimers that stream.
Yes,
Uh,
and so anyone in here who has any suggestions for us, please feel free to drop those in the chat. We appreciate
hmm
them a lot. This is the first time we've ever been in trouble, and so we initially felt like we were 12. We
Right?
called to the principal's office, and then we're like, wait a fucking minute, we have
hmm
what? We're not doing anything wrong.
We have like 800 episodes, 1,000 episodes. I mean, we
A
have
thousand,
a
yeah,
1,000. And the streams are, I would say, maybe 10% or like streaming trials, maybe 10% of our content. If that,
right.
that's probably a high number.
The vast majority of our content is original, so
It's probably like 3% if truth was told. It's
right,
insanity.
it's a very low number. Yeah, agreed. So do not worry, we will prevail. We will fight the good fight, and
And
that's
if
what's
we
going to
don't, we'll
happen.
still be here because actually, YouTube, you might think you're that important to us, but you're our smallest monetization.
Yes, that is correct.
But we'll still do our show. We'll still stream it and we'll still put it on all of our other platforms. And like things won't change, except for it's just rude to us. Yeah.
Yeah, we have all those things. So we have Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal, I think, are
hmm
actually on our website at truecrimesquad.com.
hmm
So if you want to support us in our time of fucked up need, you can do that by going to truecrimesquad.com. There's lots of ways to do that. And, even without YouTube monetization, we have lots and lots of ways to do things. So don't worry. We are not going anywhere.
Oh,
We won't
no.
let the man put us down.
No, no.
But before we get to why we're here today, right, we can have memberships on Buy Me a Coffee. We also have Patreon.
hmm
Um, but yeah, I've thought about a membership over on Buy Me a Coffee might be nice because then it's not, and then we can still do stuff on YouTube we want with it, but it'll be a special stream that only you get um, if you are in that group. That's a good idea. We should start putting those links in our description, Jess. Thank you for that.
hmm
Um, I got to show you something really fun though, because you know
Oh,
me and my crazy 3D printing life. I've started printing my Halloween stuff. My first one. Look at this. He's a little vampire bat.
oh, he's
His wings move.
handsome.
Isn't he so cute? He will be a keychain. Look, he hangs upside down from a keyring.
Oh, that's
Isn't
so
he
cute.
cute?
Oh, it's cute the way he hangs upside down with the bobblehead. That's
Yeah,
darling.
isn't he so cute? So anyway, Halloween stuff will be coming up on Fidget Whimsy very shortly. We also are doing a big fair. Well, we're doing a couple of fall
hmm
fairs
Yeah,
that I'm prepping for with Halloween stuff. But anyway, isn't he cute? I'm gonna
he's
put one on Mikey's.
precious.
I think he's so cute. You see his tiny little teeth, his tiny little vampire
Uh-huh.
teeth,
He's adorable.
and his wings go in and out. I just think he's so funny. So anyway, having fun with that.
He's the bomb.
Yes, Danielle, that is what happened. That's what the
hmm
email said. Because we're in the doghouse, so we're gonna do what we can do. But yeah, I think we're gonna move some things
hmm
probably off from YouTube so that we aren't victim to them. Because
Yeah.
fuck them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't, and we do have a lot of other monetization locations, but we need to be better with them. And thank you for saying that, just to put them in our show descriptions, because that is a good idea. We will
Yeah,
add that.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, watch for more stuff. I have a very cute little. It's a pixie that's like this tall, but it has the beastie horns like from Maleficent.
Oh,
He's so cute, and he's purple and
love
green
it.
and black. So cute. So anyway, there's going to be more. Having a blast with that. But anyway, let's get to what really matters today, and that is Megamind. Robert Ellis. The trial is over. Everyone has rested.
Mm-hmm.
The opening or the closing statements were given today,
Mm-hmm.
and it is with the jury. Right?
Yes.
YouTube and Etsy. I know I got my ass kicked by Etsy too, for reasons I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Do you, Tammy? You love the house and the guinea pig? Yes, they're so cute.
Oh,
Yes, I say.
good.
I think you ordered one, didn't you? Did you got it? I know. I'm pretty sure I shipped you
Yes, and
one.
she did. Yeah.
They're so much fun. Um, but anyway, it has been an interesting day in the Tellus
Mm-hmm.
trial. Wrinkle forehead, mega dome, mini mind,
Mm-hmm.
boss
Little Bob.
baby, little Bobby. We've got a lot of names for this dude, but what the one name we really want for him is guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So initially we had heard that the jury was going to be released at 5 p.m. Pacific, but that was 45 minutes ago, and they are still deliberating, which makes me think they're close. They may have told the judge they're close and they don't want to go home. They just want to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to play you, I'm going to just play you some videos. These are from the original prosecution closing. I don't have the videos from all of them. I'm sorry. I wish I did, but I did get all the individual closing statements up on our YouTube channel, and they'll
Yeah.
be up on our Spotify, all our podcast
Mm-hmm.
stuff by later tonight. But these are all the clips that I have for you. But I thought it would be kind of fun to just watch them because it gives you an idea of what they did. So what happened is, um, uh, Prosecutor Weckerly, the woman, she did the closing, and then the defense attorney did his, and then our hero, prosecutor, starts with an H. I can never say it. What's his name?
Hamner.
Hamner. Yes,
Hamner. Yeah.
Hamner came in and absolutely eviscerated little Bobby. I mean, it was rough. And I will have those clips later, but I don't have them tonight. But I do have this, and these clips are pretty funny because the whole time they're doing these closings, the pool camera is like split screen between the prosecutor and little Bobby. And so you're
Mm-hmm.
going to see those eyebrows sort of get lower, and I can't do it. Obviously, my
Mm-hmm.
eyebrows are frozen, but his eyebrows get lower and lower and lower throughout.
Mm-hmm. Well, he showed
But
up today
let's
looking like absolute shit.
He did. Yeah, he does not look well. He
Mm-mm.
wasn't even like he had a 5 o'clock shadow, which he never does. He's
Mm-hmm.
shaved smooth as a cue ball all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And his face looked puffy. He did not
Mm-hmm.
look good.
No, he
His
didn't.
tie was all fucked up, but then again, it usually is. But let's watch some of these. So this one is about when Roberta texts him about his car after the police release the video of the perpetrator's car. So here is a clip about that.
Okay.
By September 5th and 6th, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has released images of the assailant and also of the Yukon itself. And Roberta becomes even more concerned. She messages Mr. Tellis, Rob, WTF, please do not be driving your Yukon around for a while. This is on the September the 6th. He answers, whoa, that's crazy. She says, please tell me your Yukon is not that color. He answers, it is similar, if not the same. She says, I'm freaking out, Rob. He answers, My car has all matching wheel patterns. I think they are saying that there's a difference between the front and the back of the assailant's vehicle.
Except we
But there
know,
isn't.
no, there is not. It is exactly the same. They had this, he tried to imply that his car was different than the one they were showing, but the prosecutor very clearly showed that no, it is exactly the same. They are stock rims and they are identical because it is the same fucking car.
Yeah.
Um,
Those texts, though, I mean, first of all,
yeah.
did Roberta have a legit fear that he had killed Gehrman?
I mean,
Did she actually know something? Was she just like, hey, this happened and holy shit? Those texts, I think, are really, really weird.
They are. And I mean, she knew him pretty well. She would not say that on the stand, but it seemed pretty clear to me that she was immediately concerned that it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell me your car isn't that color.
Right.
Oh, dude. It is very much that color.
First of all, Roberta, you've been in the shaggin' wagon. You know what color it is. Yeah. But maybe she was hoping it was a little different shade, that mine's maroon and that one's bright red or something. She didn't know.
Right. Yikes. Okay, here's a little bit about the timeline of events.
Now here we see Mr. Tellis leaving his house at about 9:12 a.m. And it's the state's theory, of course, that at that point he's left his house and his cell phone is sitting back at his house on Spanish Steps. The state's theory is that Mr. Tellis leaves his residence, leaves the phone at the residence, and is proceeding to Mr. Gehrman's residence. And as we've discussed, the Yukon is seen at Rock Springs at about 10:26 a.m. Here's two different images of it. Meanwhile, Mr. Tellis's cell phone, which is sitting back at Spanish Steps, is getting some incoming messages. There's an incoming and unanswered message at about 9:44 a.m. about a work case. There's an incoming and unanswered message at about 10:16 about another case at his work. There's an incoming unanswered message from his wife saying, "Where are you?" at 10:36 a.m.
Yeah. The texts, the defense tried to play that down that it was just mostly spam, but it wasn't. There were work messages, and there were, more importantly, messages from his wife.
Yeah.
That he did not answer, messages and phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been the thing about, the text message that says, "Where are you?" from his wife that was not on his phone and was found only on her Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was deleted or not. But I gotta say, I don't think it matters if it was deleted or not. The point is, it was sent in the first place.
Yeah.
She did not know where he was when he was supposedly at home.
Yeah.
I think that really has a lot of impact. And they're fighting about the wrong thing. It doesn't matter if
it was deleted or it wasn't.
If
the
it was
text
deleted
was
or
sent.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the text was sent. She didn't know where he was, and he was supposedly at home. And then he also had a missed call from her a few, 10 minutes later. He was in that car, killing Jeff Gehrman. Okay, here's some more about Jeff Gehrman and kind of his role in this whole thing.
It's literally on the body of Mr. Gehrman. The items from the search warrant also tell you that Mr. Tellis is the person responsible for this crime. Those shoes that were found in the house, they weren't planted, they were hidden. They were cut up. Anyone who planted the shoes would have no reason to cut them up. The cutting up is to benefit Mr. Tellis so he can get rid of them. If you were just planting them, you could leave them alone. And they're clearly his shoes because 1, they're in his house. 2, his DNA is present on them. And if you don't believe that, there's pictures in his phone of those shoes on a day when he apparently went rock climbing. You have the bag that was located and ultimately the hat as well. And you heard a lot of testimony about how all of this evidence was collected from the scene. There's the detective who physically finds it, working with other detectives who are also doing the search.
I can't even quite do that with my fingers.
It's because your fingers aren't, a foot
Yeah.
long each. These freaky fingers. They are still deliberating. Yes.
Mhm. In fact, it
And
was
they were
just
going to be
posted
released
from
at 5.
yeah, it was just posted from the courtroom 2 minutes ago that they've now been deliberating for 4 hours and they are still deliberating.
Yeah. They're close.
Gotta
I
be.
mean, they're going to come back tonight, so we'll see. So what that clip started with was that the DNA was that Tellus's DNA is on Garman's body. It's under his fingernails.
Yep.
So let's see what else they dropped on him today. Oh, let's see who he thinks is the real victim in this case, or who the prosecution thinks.
At the end of his testimony, I think yesterday, Mr. Tellus explained that, he's really a victim in this. He's been victimized by the whole process. And he told you that he was wronged by his coworkers who didn't appreciate his changes that he made in the office and didn't appreciate his management style. He was wronged by the county who didn't understand that he was being a good leader. He was wronged by Zach Schilling, and by Kristen Riffle. He was wronged by them as well. He was certainly wronged, according to him, by Compass Realty. He was wronged by Steve Wolfson. He was wronged by the patrol officers who preserved that scene at Mr. Garman's house. He was wronged by Metro Police, in particular, Detective Gaddis and Detective Jappy. He was wronged by some mysterious, illusory phone hacker. He was wronged by DNA analysts at Metro who found his DNA on the fingernails of Mr. Garman.
That face, man.
We all know it's the Taylor Swift song. It's you, you're the problem, it's you, right?
Well, I mean, first of all, those are literally all of the things that he said. And
Yeah, he himself said.
and now he's doing that face and acting like he has no idea where these outlandish ideas came from.
Right? Oh my God. The look on his face through all of that is so funny. Oh my gosh. Lauren Mathias says that there is a juror that is so pregnant that she doesn't have a lap. She takes notes on top of her belly. They shouldn't keep her much longer tonight. Yeah, they shouldn't, but maybe they're getting close, guys. That is, I'm hoping. But man, that was a pretty, the way that his face melted into villainy throughout that whole thing was so funny. And yeah, they're responding to shit that he said. He said.
And
Okay.
you know the jury's too smart for this shit, they're going, why do you look confused? You're the person who said all of this.
Right. Yeah, now he's like all offended by it,
trying
but
to
he's the one
gaslight
who
with
said
his
it.
face.
Yeah.
It's not working.
No, it is not. Here is some
You
more.
look at point 21, he wrote, upon information and belief, several employees conspired to make false allegations of mistreatment by Mr. Tellus. These employees contacted the Las Vegas Review-Journal to share false and defamatory statements in support of news articles against Mr. Tellus. So he was clearly incredibly upset that those articles were written and that it resulted in him losing that primary. In July, Jeff Garman, though, isn't done with his stories and his examination of what is going on with Mr.
Okay. The way that he's like, yeah, that happened, and that happened, yeah. His inability to shut his face up is not good for him.
No, not at all.
So bizarre. Now, let's listen to this. This is very interesting. This was the description of what the jury has to find him guilty of first-degree murder. And there's a little bit of a twist in this that I think is good for us to know.
The third theory of first-degree murder is murder occurring during the perpetration of abuse of an older person. And this is kind of like child abuse, where if you abuse a child and a child happens to die in the course of abuse, it's automatically first-degree murder. The same is true for individuals who are over 60. If you abuse an older person and they die during the course of that abuse, that is an automatic case of first-degree murder. And it's sort of a policy judgment to protect vulnerable members of our society. The instructions tell you another theory of first-degree murder is a kind of murder which carries with it conclusive evidence of malice aforethought. One of these classes of murder is murder committed in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of abuse of an older person. Therefore, a killing which is committed in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of an older person is deemed to be murder of the first degree, whether the killing was intentional, unintentional, or accidental.
That's really key in this case. Mm-hmm. Jeff Gehrman was 69.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt that this murder qualifies under that rule.
Jurors have just been released to go home.
Okay. Well, I guess it's going to be another day of jury watch tomorrow.
Yep. Deliberations start at 9 tomorrow, so that'll be 10 Mountain.
10 Mountain. Okay, and we will already be here with Corey Richens, and oh my God, we're gonna be streaming 3 streams tomorrow, guys, and we will do our best to just stay in all of them and hang on to our butts.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah, because we also, of course, have Nick Alaverdian at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes, absolutely. Katie, will you just post that over in the other live and then end that live? There's a lot going on here, friends. And in the meantime, let's listen about DNA evidence. Well, never mind, because something's wrong with that video and it doesn't have any sound. How about, let's see, what else have we got here? Well, let's look at some of the rivalry stuff that was going on with the public admin office.
And not just that he lost the race, he lost the race to a rival within the public administrator's office itself. And from the text messages of Mr. Tellis, we learned that this was deeply, deeply troubling for him. He wrote to Mr. Gehrman, "I don't know what to say. I told you how much this all impacted me. You heard from employees who are being harassed by these people, provided you," I think this is a typo, "proof that I was doing my best to actually smooth things over. I had to make hard decisions. Still, you wrote an article that makes it sound like I'm the guilty one. That wasn't fair or balanced." He told Mr. Gehrman, "I'm distraught right now. Clearly, there are typos in my message." He told Mr. Gehrman that he was adding to the pressure of his life. "I've done so much for that office. I've told you that I've been followed and that I caught Rita following me. You decided to take it on her word that she wasn't. However, clearly she was. It seems to me that you value sensationalism or the value of a potential takedown than actually telling the truth. Thank you for helping him drop more pressure on my life."
Wow. So blaming Gehrman for everything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to hold Gehrman accountable for things that other people had done. And, you know, I mean, the bottom line is Tellis was up to some bullshit.
Yep.
And was not living up to the standard he should have been in his role as an elected official. I mean, you run for office and get elected, dude, you're going to be held accountable for your behavior, particularly your behavior at work, in your job.
such a lack of impulse control, obviously.
Oh, so
But
much.
also, he seemed to get like hyper focused on things that didn't matter and totally lose the plot. And I really wonder if that's the way, his whole life kind of operates. That he gets really focused on one thing that maybe doesn't matter that much and lets everything else drop. Or in this case, he was so sure that Compass Realty was out of pocket that he was going to do nothing but fight them. And without being able to really see the whole picture. It's wild. Really
It
wild.
is. It's really wild that, but he is so intensely obsessed with that situation that
Yeah.
he cannot see past it to see that he's on trial for a real live murder,
hmm
that he really killed somebody.
Yeah. But all he can talk about is Compass Realty. I,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really strange.
hmm
We don't have the recording, but it is available on our YouTube channel. But let's talk a little bit. Well, first, let's talk about the defense's case.
Yeah.
The defense's case focused heavily on the things that the prosecution did not have,
hmm
evidence that they did not have, but also highlighted all the evidence that they did have,
hmm
which was weird to me. I'm not sure why you would want to remind the jury of what they do
hmm
have. But there was a lot of mischaracterization of things people said and of the evidence.
hmm
The one crime scene tech who saw Detective Jappy taking pictures and like doing his own investigation basically at the public administrator's office, and that he continues to mischaracterize that testimony. She said she saw him taking photos
hmm
because he seemed to be investigating his own case, and she said, I'm not sure if he was also collecting evidence.
hmm
But repeatedly now, the defense attorney has said that she said she saw him taking pictures and collecting his own evidence, which is not
Yeah.
what she said, but he continues to mischaracterize that.
hmm
The other thing that he said, this pisses me off.
hmm
Two of those crime scene technicians, when giving their CVs, said that they were in training at the time, and he called them trainees. And it is not the same thing. They are certified forensic technicians
Yeah.
who were in training to move up to the next level. He made
hmm
it sound like it was their first day, which it was not in any way their first day. They were totally qualified to be there and do the job that they were doing. And they were training to move up to the next level. But he implied that, that's the other thing. Well, I mean, they lost that body cam footage, so can you trust anything in this investigation? There was a lot of that.
Okay,
Because he
then.
also called the body cam footage of the traffic stop when they served tell us with the original warrant um, key evidence in this investigation, which I was like, no, it's not.
Right.
It's not key evidence at all.
It's not key evidence of anything.
But it's definitely some ammunition that they can use. I mean, it's not good. Evidence should never disappear. And so it is some ammunition, but boy, he is using it to say that you
Yeah.
can't trust. How can you trust any of these people? And they're just trainees anyway.
Yeah.
It was, I really think the jury is smarter than that
Oh,
to
yeah.
see through how much he mischaracterized some of the things that were said.
hmm
He talked about how, they don't have a murder weapon.
Yep.
They don't have video of Tellis driving through his own neighborhood. They have him leaving his neighborhood to Gehrman's neighborhood and returning through Gehrman's neighborhood back to his. But they
Yep.
don't actually have video of him coming and going in his own neighborhood. They could not find video.
hmm
And the defense attorney implied that that's because they lied about it. There was a lot of implying the police lied.
hmm
Uh, what their motivation for lying would be, I do not know,
Right.
because they want to convict this man. Um,
Yep.
what else was I going to say? Well, just this idea that you can't trust anything that they say.
Yep.
Implying he didn't come right out and say there's a conspiracy. He really walked that line because he knows he can't actually say that. He has no evidence of that. Tellus said it, but he doesn't dare say it.
No.
But he really walked a very fine line implying that. So there was just a lot of that kind of stuff going on, and a lot of, saying, I don't know, trying to discredit the "where are you" text and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Saying that they couldn't prove that it was deleted from Tellus's phone. I don't care if it was deleted or not. It was sent in the first place. That's what matters. She
That's
didn't
really
know where
all
he
that matters.
was when he was supposed to be at home.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but I would never just leave my house without my husband knowing that, Like I would never just, and it's
No,
not like it's just a common courtesy thing, right?
right.
I would never just get in the car and go somewhere and not at least text him or tell him, "Hey, I'm heading
Yeah.
out. This is where I'm going." That is so wild to me, and I'm guessing that wasn't normal in their marriage either.
It didn't
Considering
seem
that
like it.
he wasn't home, she expected him to be home, obviously, and texted wanting to know where he was. She also called him and he didn't answer.
Yeah. Yeah, and they showed, previous interactions between their phones that he normally responded very quickly. So, yeah, that was weird.
Even
And
though
all
he
it,
said, I just don't think that I should have to respond to messages that quick. Like, I mean, I think that when someone calls you or messages you, you just don't have to respond to them in any kind of time frame. Except for you
right?
usually did. So
You usually did. And your wife,
yeah.
I mean, fine if you don't feel that way about everything. And he had ignored several texts from work. What about the man with hair in red SUV? Guys, all that is an outline of a face. We don't know if it's hair. If it is hair, it could very easily be a wig. There it is. Or that could be a hat or a hood. It could be lots of things. But, he had already been disguising his appearance. Who's to say he wasn't disguising his appearance then as well?
That looks like a hood to me.
See, that's what I thought, is that there's a hood on.
And
He's trying to cover up that big bald head because he knows that would be obvious.
Yeah.
Right, and some sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no neck in the profile. Right, Lori. That was my first thought, was that is a hoodie and sunglasses.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not him. He
Not
was
at
trying
all.
to make sure that people did not recognize him. And that big old chrome dome is really obvious, and he knows it. And so it does nothing for me. I have no concern about whether that's someone else. It's not.
Well, and true,
I don't
Aaron,
have any
even if
worry
there
about
is
that.
hair, could easily just be part of his disguise. He was fully disguised, so why would we
Right.
think
He had that big hat on? What if the hair was on underneath that hat? You wouldn't have known until he took it off. So I don't really think that it tells us anything.
No.
But it is something the defense used to create some doubt. But I mean, if he's wearing a disguise the entire time, who's to say that wasn't part of it?
And
we know
maybe
he was wearing a
it creates
disguise.
some doubt because it is the lone question that the jurors asked about.
Right, because the defense attorney told them to zoom in on those videos. And that was one of the questions they came back with, besides can we have more paper, is how do we zoom in on these videos? I don't think that it changes anything.
No.
His DNA is under the victim's fingernails. And some of the clothing worn by the killer, easily identifiable, found in his house.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he's the guy with the motive. He has a motive that is as big as a friggin' house to kill this guy. He's about to do article number 5. I think article number 5 was going to even expose more of the affair. My sense of this is, because it was all about his communications with Roberta, was his big concern, is that that affair was still going on or went on
Yeah.
much longer than the wife knew.
Yeah.
And that's where this is coming from, is that he didn't want that to come out. Right, we never heard of a wig. There was no wig found, but also the clothing he was wearing, the orange shirt and the pants, also have never been found.
Right. Yeah.
We were talking in the chat earlier today, too, that he could have easily had plastic on the seats in his vehicle
Mm-hmm.
and plastic ready to throw his clothes into. His
Mm-hmm.
clothes were very oversized. He could have had his gym clothes on underneath, and he pulled those clothes off while he was in the car and shoved them in plastic and ditched them somewhere. And then later got paranoid about the hat and the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are all very, very possible, along with the murder weapon. All of that he could have easily done. He had from the second until kind of middle of the night, the 6th to the 7th, to get to do away with all of the evidence. The fact that he still had some was super dumb.
Yep.
But he could have wiped his entire car down with bleach and aired it out so it didn't smell like bleach.
Yep.
He cleaned it. He washed the outside of the car. We know he did.
Yeah.
He could have ditched any bloody clothes that he had. They also made it really clear that Jeff Gehrman fell to the ground and most of the blood leaked out onto the ground, that they didn't think that this was a particularly bloody crime scene. Jeff Gehrman himself barely had any blood on his own shoes.
Yeah.
And I was reading about that so you have your jugular vein and you have your carotid artery. The jugular would bleed out much faster. The carotid is a slower bleed, and he cut the carotid. So it's not like it would have been spraying everywhere like if you cut your jugular. Your jugular would be spraying blood, not the carotid. So I think that's super important for us to remember too.
Well, he had black gloves on, and the gloves weren't found. So those were another thing. And he was also carrying that bag.
Yes.
To me,
what was in the bag?
I don't think anything was in the bag. I think the bag was intended for things to go into.
Maybe for evidence to go into.
Yeah, I think his clothes went into the bag. Personally, my opinion. I think his clothes went into the bag. I don't think the hat or shoes got put into the bag because he took his hat off to take off his clothes and throw them into the bag. And maybe there was a hoodie in the bag that he then put on. Who knows? But something along those lines. Or
that was just underneath everything else he was wearing.
And his shoes stayed on his feet. I think I agree that the pants were big enough that he probably just slid them right off. Shoes stayed on his feet, or he kicked out of them and slid right back into him. Yeah. I think those things, along with the murder weapon, went into maybe not that bag, but into a bag, maybe a bag in that bag, and were immediately thrown into a dumpster or something on his way home. I think that much of the clothing just immediately disappeared.
Yeah.
And then he had the hat. He ended up at home with the hat and the shoes. And those are the things he still had to get rid of. And,
Right. And the hat parts are seen in the bag. The defense attorney called it sawdust in the bag, but then the prosecutor showed pictures of it, and it's very clearly pieces of a straw hat.
Like someone in the chat said, straw dust. Yeah.
Yeah, straw dust, exactly. Yeah. Right, Danielle. Israel Keys would wear a hat that had a wig.
Yeah.
It's true.
Right, Lori. Were they disposed of at Planet Fitness? Good question. You're probably right about that. Those clothes were probably disposed of there or at a dumpster behind there or somewhere in that vicinity. Yep.
Yeah. It all can be explained. Even the stuff that the defense is trying to turn into something can easily be explained if he did this the way that it appears he did. It's all explainable. And maybe he thought the shoes and the hat weren't as important, and he's trying to destroy them into a million pieces. The jury is not back. The jury went home for the day, and so we will be back at 10 Mountain with the jury tomorrow, for those of you just joining. They deliberated for a little bit over, just right around 4 hours or just a little bit over, before they broke for the day. So then we get to, what's his name again? Hamner. Why can I
Mhm.
not remember that name? He is
Listen,
such a rock star.
Hamner brought the hammer today. I've seen that in the
Hamner
chat a
did
few
bring the
times.
hammer.
I'm
Thank
feeling it.
you.
So
That will
maybe
help
that
me
will help you
remember.
remember. Yes.
Yes. So then Hamner gets to rebut because the state has to prove their case, not the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely on the state's, it's the state's advantage that they get to speak twice at the end of trial.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And Hamner came in and he beat the living crap out of Boss Baby. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, he just basically addressed everything that Tellis said in his narrative
Mm-hmm.
testimony.
He
He
called him
called
the
it
state's best witness.
the state's best witness. Yes, he did. He called him goofy.
You did.
He said he had a funny little walk. He
Mm-hmm.
called him a lame duck several times.
Mm-hmm.
And he also referred to him as an amateur in his surveillance that he'd clearly
Mm-hmm.
been, that was on his phone, he'd clearly been doing, looking for Jeff Garman's car.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the best slides I've ever seen was professional assassin versus amateur assassin. Because if you remember, during during Hamner's cross of Tellis, he asked him to confirm if he felt that this was done by, if this was a professional hit, like a professional assassin. And he used the word assassin over and over again, which I think is so funny because it's very villain, movie,
Mm-hmm.
Marvel movie, kind of like how ridiculous this is. And Tellis just kept saying, yes, yes, absolutely. And he
Mm-hmm.
kept saying, okay, so a professional assassin would drive his own car to a crime scene? To a murder? Well, yes, because he was trying to make it look like it was me. A professional assassin would wear a giant sun hat and a bright orange shirt to commit a crime? Yes. He's like, he wanted people to see him? And he's pointing out, like,
Mm-hmm.
professional assassins don't drive their own vehicles to murders. They don't wear very obvious clothing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't keep anything from the crime scene at their own house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's making this list, and what he's done all along, and it's very smart because Tellis's ego is about as big as that dome of his, and he has found ways to put him down, call him
Yeah.
dumb, call
Mm-hmm.
him little, call
Mm-hmm.
him goofy, say he has a funny little walk,
Mm-hmm.
which we all know he walks like that because he wears lifts, and he told the entire jury, he told
Mm-hmm.
everyone that he walks funny because he wears lifts. And the assassin also walks funny. He replayed a video of him walking
Mm-hmm.
like 2 solid minutes. It was so funny. Right, Lori? It was just the right amount of sarcasm. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
enough to go over the line, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just enough for everyone to know how full of shit this dude is.
Yep.
And he went through the list of all of the people that are conspiring against him. And how ridiculous all that was. Oh, yes, he referred to his tiny gray moccasins as the shoes he was wearing in one of their surveillance videos. That was really funny. And he called it the amateur surveillance. I mean, the Popeyes surveillance, because he was sitting in a Popeyes parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
That part cracks me up so much. But he did really take him down about 27 notches.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And just reminded the jury that this isn't about any of that. That all of this is about the murder of Jeff Garman. And the person
Mm-hmm.
who had a motive to kill Jeff Garman was Robert Tellis. One absolutely brilliant thing that Hamner did is he said, so if the police really were in on this and wanted to kill you, wanted you out of the picture, why didn't they just let you die when you were trying to kill yourself?
Yeah. Instead, Jappy,
Detective?
who he hates so much and is, the root of all evil in this case, spent 2 hours on the phone talking this dude down. 2 hours.
Yeah. And when he couldn't talk him down, He got the SWAT team there
Mm-hmm.
to get him medical attention as soon as possible, and they literally saved his life. And none of that would have happened had Jappy not been doing his job
Mm-hmm.
as a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
a dedicated cop who saved this crazy man's life,
Mm-hmm.
even though they were apparently in some kind of conspiracy to bring him down.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other question was, well, really, I mean, why did Gehrman have to die in all of this? If Compass Realty was in on this, and all the police and the DA and everybody, why didn't they just kill you?
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
that stopped old little Bobby right in his tracks.
Yeah.
And it's a very valid point.
Both of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if someone was framing him for all of this, then why didn't they find the murder weapon in Tellis's house?
Mm-hmm.
And that shirt and his bloody clothes?
Mm-hmm.
Why was none of that in his house? The gloves?
Yeah.
They were really wanting to pin it on him. They would have left all that stuff in his house, wouldn't they?
Yeah. You'd think so. Not according to little Bobby. He said that had been too obvious. That's just not how they were operating.
One of the, I thought, really interesting things that the defense attorney said is, you have to remember that Robert Tellis has been sitting in jail for 2 years. Yeah, we know that. He has been sitting in jail for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what do you think he's had to do for 2 years? All he's had to do is obsess on this case and obsess on Compass Realty. I'm like,
no, we know.
really? I mean, we know that's what he did. Is that really all he had to do? No, it isn't, but it's clearly what he did do.
What he
It's
did
like
do.
he was trying to explain away the super bizarre narrative that he gave. Oh, guys, that's just because he's been locked up, don't you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with good reason. They did not give him bail. He
Yep.
could not get out because he was seen as a threat.
Yep.
He tried to kill himself after he was accused of this murder.
Yeah.
So they felt like the safest thing to do would be to put him in jail and keep him there until his trial.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was all very, very interesting. And I was really impressed with Hamner. Man, he nailed him to the wall on all of that. You got to go watch that if you haven't seen it yet. It's on our YouTube, and I'm putting it up on the podcast too. Just Hamner's closing rebuttal is so freaking good. That guy is amazing.
Yeah, he killed it.
He did. He totally killed it. But
Hamner,
he made
I
some
wish we
really
knew you
good
better and you'd
points.
get a song, but you'll make it into the song.
Hamner the Hammer. Yeah, that's definitely good. Getting in the song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right, Grant, if Tellis really wanted to die, he would be dead.
Right.
Yeah, this is attention seeking bullshit. And he has done nothing but try to take the attention away from the actual victim in this case, which is Jeff Gehrman.
His poor wife. Can you imagine what she's probably put up with over the years out of him?
No.
It just makes you wonder, have there been other suicide attempts or threats of suicide attempts when life got
100%.
hard? Mm-hmm. He strikes me as
He's
the guy
one of those.
that would do stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely for attention. But all of this, he's tried to make all of this about him, that he's so very important that everybody was out to get him, not that he was out to get Jeff Gehrman.
To take me down.
Yeah, to take him down. They already did take him down. They primaried him.
That was
his coworkers ran against him, and one of them won. And that was the takedown. There was no more takedown to be had.
Right.
And he said, he was going to do so much more. He was a lame duck. He was not going to be able to do anything more. His higher ups were not going to be listening to anything out of him because he lost the election. He was not going to be staying in that position past January of 2023. And his little fight over this was done.
Yep.
The investigations into Compass Realty and into him were done, and no charges were ever filed against anybody. Now, it did come out that Nevada law around probate is shitty. And there's been some work to change it. but none of them were doing anything illegal. Just because it was crappy and wasn't supposed to be that way did not mean it was a crime.
Right.
And I think that's where he seems to be the kind of person who thinks that he's the one that gets to determine what is a crime and what isn't. He's the he's the police in this situation, and no, he's not. And the police were like, look, we looked into your stuff, it's not true. There's no crime here.
Right.
Hamner does need a raise, and good news, his boss was in the courtroom, Wolfson, because Wolfson's been implicated now by could you imagine thinking this isn't like so obvious on Tellis's part that he is implicating everyone, including the Clark County DA?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, so does Weckerly. Weckerly did a beautiful job of laying out the timeline and all of the evidence against him and everything that the state proved throughout this trial. She did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
And then Hamner just came in and brought the hammer down right on top of Boss Baby's head.
Oh, yeah. Jess said he reminds me of the villain in the first Incredibles who made his own villain to defeat so that he could be the hero but failed, right?
Yes.
He came in there looking for a fight. Yep. Wanting to be the big man.
He wanted to be the hero.
He's
not a hero. He's not a hero at all. He's pathetic.
No.
And he destroyed Jeff Gehrman's life. For what? For pointing out his bad behavior. But, this is what malignant narcissists do.
Yep.
They destroy people who question them. And that's what he did. I cannot imagine what he must have been like to be married to.
Oh. Yep. So they deliberated for 4 hours, and they'll be back in the morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. Mountain, sorry. 10 a.m. Mountain.
10 a.m. Mountain.
Yeah.
We'll be here. We'll be here on Jury Watch. We'll have a live open so that when they come back, we'll be ready. But we're also going to be here with a lot more stuff. So, Katie, why don't you tell us a little bit, if you can, about Corey Richens' prelim today. Good God.
Sucked. First of all, the sound was terrible. I had a hell of a time hearing it. I know you guys did too.
They've just got like really one camera or one microphone in there, like in the middle of the room, sort of. Yeah. And it's just picking up everyone. It's terrible.
And if the AC maybe, it's a real fanny sound. It's hard. But so we started the day with the defense. The defense called one witness. They called Detective Driscoll. And Driscoll, they were talking to him about all of his interviews with Corey, with her housekeeper. Basically, they were talking about the drugs and how she may have or may not have acquired them, or if she did or didn't have them. That's how it rolled out. And then particularly about her texts with and her communication with Carmen Lauber. She's the housekeeper who she supposedly got drugs from. And she claims that she did provide drugs to Corey on February 11th, February 26th, and March 9th. And then from there, they bring in
cell phone guy.
Yes, thank you. My brain is so drained from today.
I think cell phone guy is about when I joined.
They brought in a cell phone guy who was talking about Corey had 3 different cell phones. He was talking about like Cellbrite reports and stuff like that about where her phones were and about a lot of deleted texts. One of the things that Corey had said was that when Eric died, she was asleep in one of their children's beds and he was in their bed. But her phone indicates that she had been texting and talking on the phone during that time. So that's one of the things that, was brought up today. And then they brought in a forensic accountant who discussed, in depth, Corey's financials.
Oh, my God. Ad nauseum.
It was very boring. She is brilliant and did a really good job. But, man, it was just a lot of info that was... But now, But realize this is a preliminary. What they're doing is convincing the judge that there is enough evidence against Corey that they should be able to move forward with a trial. So that was the whole point of today and tomorrow as
Right.
well. So there's no jury. It's just the judge that they're addressing, and the judge was fantastic.
Yeah, he's great.
He was great. He was very, very attentive. I liked the way he ran his courtroom. I liked him. A lot of you guys said you would definitely read a book or listen to a book that he narrated because he has a beautiful voice. Beautiful
He
voice.
does.
Anyway, so that's what happened today, essentially. One thing that came up was that Corey was $4 million in debt in her business accounts and about $500,000 to $600,000 in debt in her personal debts. She
Yeah,
really had a
it was
lot
a
going
lot.
on. Mm-hmm.
And we know that part of what went on there is that she was trying to get her husband Eric to put money into her business, let
Mm-hmm.
her take some of his business's money into her business to basically bail her out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was impressed with her defense team, honestly. There were a lot of them. She has a
Mm-hmm.
very large defense team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're definitely not letting anything get by.
No.
I
Nope.
don't know yet really what their defense is. I don't fully understand what their theory is behind any of this. But they're vociferous, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure.
So Laura is
Um,
accusing us of always being critical of defense attorneys. We actually aren't always. It depends on the situation. But I
Sometimes we love
do,
the defense attorneys.
and we
Sometimes.
do recognize that defense attorneys are doing the best they can with what they have.
Uh-huh.
But I don't like defense attorneys who lie.
Mm-hmm.
And Tellis's attorney has mischaracterized a lot of things that were said in court, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a mistake. I
Mm-hmm.
think it makes you
Yeah.
look like you're a liar, and so is your
Mm-hmm.
person. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you lie about what testimony was given, we
Mm-hmm.
all heard what somebody said, and he changes it up
Mm-hmm.
to say things that were not true.
Yeah.
That bothers me. I do not like defense attorneys that do that.
Yeah.
And I recognize they all have to do what they've got to do to try to defend their client. And Tellis
Mm-hmm.
is not easy to defend because he is an idiot. And, him doing that narrative was a
Yeah.
huge mistake on his part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the lying that bothers me. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
for sure. For sure. But true, they've only been back to Richens. They've only been on her case for a few months and
Right, right.
are catching up and getting right there. But yeah, they are. They're
Well,
doing what
they've
they
got to
can.
be a lot more with it than the first defense team. Corey's first defense team was very susceptible to her
Yeah.
and her bullshit, and
Mm-hmm.
they made some big mistakes
Mm-hmm.
in not calling her in the correct way through the system.
Yeah.
There's been a big problem with
Yeah.
that, so their phone calls were getting recorded,
Yeah.
and they've been really mad at the prosecutor about it. But honestly, the prosecutor, it's not their responsibility. They didn't. Mark Means did this in Lori Vallow's case. They were
Mm-hmm.
not calling in through that phone system correctly,
Yeah.
so that their number was being identified
Mm-hmm.
as an attorney and that this call shouldn't be recorded. And it's their
Yeah.
responsibility to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The biggest bomb today was the video the defense blew up. Laura, are you talking about in I'm not sure which case you're talking about. Yeah. Anyway,
I think you're talking about the video with the supposed guy with hair in Telus, I think.
okay, we're jumping back and forth a lot. I can't keep up. There's been a lot of
Yeah,
info in my brain today.
I hear you. Me too.
Yeah. But at any rate, so what happened today is that they all rested. So tomorrow they're not going to come back until 10 a.m. their time, but because technically the judge is not allowing streaming of this case, the press has to wait for 1 hour before they can stream what's been happening. So there's going to have to be an hour behind. So they're going to start at 10. We won't start streaming till 11. But it's just for
Yeah.
their arguments and then it's over. So they're
Mhm.
calling for a pretty short day. So that'll happen.
They've said Corey is not going to testify, but the
Mhm.
judge kind of wanted her to have some time to think it over too. He seemed to
Mhm.
be saying that a lot was presented today, and he
Mhm.
wanted time to consider that
If she'd like to
before
do that
they
tomorrow.
moved
Yeah.
forward. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Well, he left the door open for her anyway, if she decides to
Yeah,
do
he
so.
did.
I really don't think she will.
I doubt
One
it.
moment that cracked me up when they were talking about her finances, the camera panned to her and she was visibly pissed off. Like she really
Mhm.
didn't like the fact that they were digging into her finances and airing them over the internet in open court.
Well, sucks to suck,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, we've never heard of wig hair. No, we haven't.
No, that's not come up in any case, in any way in Tellus.
The defense never brought that up until their closing. Yeah, it's just
No.
trying
So
to
there's,
create doubt.
it's just another, yeah, it's just a way to create down.
Journey to Justice said she should take the stand, lol.
I can't imagine that she would have anything to say that would sway the judge from bearing her over for trial. I just really do not think, I can't
No,
imagine what she could possibly say
there's
that would
plenty of
affect that
evidence to get
positively.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's plenty of evidence to get there. So, to recap, in the morning, 8:30 a.m., Alaverdian, Rossi Knight,
Just
Jingleheimer
Rossi.
Schmidt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that begins at 8:30. 10 o'clock, we'll go back to deliberations with Tellus, and then 11 o'clock, Corey Richens. So we believe we should be able to stream all three, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So, as you know, we got demonetized by YouTube because they're jerks. This process could take a couple of weeks. If we get our monetization back, we don't know what's going to happen. In the meantime, if you want to support us, there are a lot of ways to do that at truecrimesquad.com. Our Venmo is over there. I believe there's a PayPal over there. There's Buy Me a Coffee is over there. Our merch store is over there. Patreon is over there. We have lots. So if you are so moved and want to help us that way, that's very much appreciated, but it's certainly not required. We really just appreciate your presence here right now. And whether it's in the moment when we're live or when we're not, we appreciate all of you being here with us and
sure.
participating and being part of the squad.
And don't worry, no matter what YouTube does, we're not done. We're going to just keep on keeping on.
Oh no. We don't give up. We're not like that at all. No.
No.
We'll just find other ways. And you guys are all right that maybe we should just be moving our subscriptions off from YouTube onto other things and still be able to provide the same stuff.
Yeah.
But then we don't have to deal with YouTube bullshit, and that would be okay too. Really. We're good with that. So we will be looking into all of that. But in the meantime, please join us back here tomorrow at 8:30, 10, and 11 Mountain to be covering all this stuff. And then we'll be back at 6:30 Mountain tomorrow night to sum it all up for you.
Talk it over. Yep.
Yeah. Well, get some rest. I know we need to. We only have about 13 hours till we have to be back here. So thanks for being here. You know it. We are the True Crime Squad.
Take care.